Every morning starts the same. The alarm on my old sewing machine clock buzzes at 6 a.m., its familiar hum pulling me out of a restless sleep. I lie there for a moment, staring at the ceiling of my small room in the corner of my son's house. The paint is peeling in one corner, a jagged crack running like a scar across the plaster. I keep meaning to tell Nathan about it, but what's the point? No one notices the little things anymore. Not in this house. Not me. My name is Eleanor Brooks. I'm 67 years old, and I've lived in my son Nathan's home in Portland, Oregon, for 6 years now. This room, tucked away in the ground floor of their modern Selwood home, used to be a storage space, crammed with boxes and forgotten holiday decorations. When I moved in after Henry, my husband, passed away, Nathan and his wife Laura cleared it out for me. It's just temporary, Mom, Nathan said back then, his voice kind but firm, until you're settled after losing Dad. Temporary. That word stretched into years, like a piece of fabric pulled too tight, fraying at the edges. I swing my legs out of bed, my joints creaking a little, and slip into my old cardigan, one with the faded floral pattern that Laura once called vintage, with a polite smile. It's soft, comfortable, and it smells faintly of lavender, a scent that reminds me of the days when I ran my own dressmaking shop. Back then, I was Eleanor, the seamstress who could turn a bolt of silk into a wedding gown that made brides cry with joy. Now, I'm just Mom, or Grandma, or, more often than not, the invisible woman who keeps this house running. The Selwood house is quiet this early, the kind of quiet that feels heavy, like it's waiting for something to break it. I pad down the hallway to the kitchen, careful not to make too much noise. Nathan, my son, is a project manager for a construction firm, always up early, always stressed. Laura, his wife, is a freelance interior designer, her days filled with client calls and mood boards. They're a busy couple, and I get it. They have their lives. Their kid Sophie, my 16-year-old granddaughter with her sharp wit and ever-present phone, and Oliver, my sweet, curious 9-year-old grandson, their world. I thought moving here would let me be part of that world too. Instead, I feel like a ghost haunting their perfect life. In the kitchen, I start the coffee maker. It's gurgle, a familiar comfort. My routine is the same every day. I set out plates, pull eggs and bread from the fridge, and start breakfast. Nathan likes his eggs scrambled with a sprinkle of black pepper. Laura prefers yogurt with granola, arranged just so. Sophie will grab a bagel and rush out the door, barely looking up from her phone. Oliver, my little Oliver, will eat anything as long as it's pancakes with maple syrup. I know their preferences by heart, like a pattern I've sewn 100 times. But does anyone know mine? I don't think they've ever asked. I used to be someone. For 30 years, I ran my dressmaking shop in downtown Portland. Brides would come, from all over, clutching sketches and dreams, and I'd bring them to life with needle and thread. My hands were steady then, my mind sharp with ideas. I'd stay up late, stitching intricate beadwork, humming old jazz tunes while Henry read in the armchair beside me. We were a team, Henry and I, when he died sodden, a stroke that took him before I could say goodbye. Part of me died, too. The shop felt too big, too empty without him. So, I sold it, packed up our little house, and came here to be with Nathan's family. I thought it would fill the void. I was wrong. Morning, Mom, Laura says as she breezes into the kitchen, already dressed in a chic blazer, her eyes glued to her phone. Can you make sure Oliver's lunch has no peanut butter today? His school sent another allergy reminder. Of course, I reply softly, already pulling out the turkey and cheese for his sandwich. She doesn't look up, just nods and keeps scrolling. I wonder if she notices the avocado I sliced for her breakfast, the way I arranged it, just the way she likes. Probably not. Nathan comes in next, his tie loose, his face lined with the kind of exhaustion that comes from too many deadlines. Coffee ready, he asks, not waiting for an answer as he grabs a mug from the cabinet. He moved them last week, rearranging the kitchen without telling me. Again, my things, my favorite teacup, the little jar where I keep my sewing needles, getting shifted, like I'm a guest who doesn't belong. Mom, don't forget to pick up Oliver at 3 today, Nathan says over his shoulder. He's got soccer practice. I remember, I say quietly. I've been picking up Oliver from school every day for years. I know his schedule better than they do, but Nathan just nods, distracted, already halfway out the door. Sophie bursts into the kitchen like a whirlwind. Her hair dyed a new shade of pink. earbuds dangling from her neck. I'm late, she announces, snatching a bagel from the counter. See ya, Sophie, your lunch. I start, holding up the bag I packed for her. But she's already gone, the front door slamming behind her. I sigh and place the bag back in the fridge. It'll be there, untouched, when I check tonight. Like always. Oliver's the last to come down, rubbing his eyes, his superhero pajamas wrinkled from sleep. Morning, Grandma, he says, his voice soft and sleepy. He climbs onto a stool at the counter, and for a moment, I feel seen. Good morning, sweetheart, I say, ruffling his hair. Pancakes today. He nods, a small smile breaking through, with extra syrup. I smile back, pouring batter onto the griddle. These moments with Oliver are the only ones that feel real. Like I'm more than just a shadow in this house. But even with him, I wonder, am I just the grandma who makes pancakes? Is that all I am now? As I flip the pancakes, I think about my old shop. The hum of the sewing machine, the rustle of fabric, the way a bride's face would light up when she saw her dress. I was good at something. I mattered. Here, I'm the one who picks up Oliver, washes dishes, mends Sophie's torn jeans. I'm useful, sure, but it's not the same. I'm not sure anyone would notice if I stopped. The family eats quickly, leaving behind half-empty plates and coffee cups. Nathan and Laura rush out with brief goodbyes, and Oliver grabs his backpack as I remind him to brush his teeth. Then they're gone, and the house is quiet again. I cleared the table, wipe down the counters, and start the dishwasher. Invisible work for an invisible woman. I glance at the old sewing machine clock on my dresser as I head back to my room. It's still ticking, but the time is wrong, always a few minutes off, no matter how many times I try to fix it. It feels like a metaphor for my life here. I'm present, but not quite in sync, not quite needed, not quite me. The evening hums along like any other. Dinner's done, the dishes stacked neatly in the dishwasher, and I've just finished hemming a pair of Sophie's jeans. She tore them at a concert last week. The house is alive with its usual rhythm. Nathan and Laura in the living room, their voices low as they discuss work. Sophie upstairs, probably lost in her phone. Oliver in his room, reading one of those adventure books he loves. I'm in the kitchen, folding a pile of laundry, my hands moving automatically, like they've done for years. It's quiet work, the kind no one notices until it's not done. I pick up a small embroidered handkerchief from the pile, one I made for Laura years ago, when she and Nathan got married. It's delicate, with tiny roses stitched along the edges, a labor of love I spent hours perfecting. Laura used to say it was beautiful, but now it's just another thing tossed into the wash, forgotten. I smooth it out, my fingers tracing the stitches, and for a moment, I'm back in my old shop, the scent of fresh fabric and thread in the air. Then the doorbell rings, snapping me out of it. Mom, can you get that? Nathan calls from the living room. His voice carries that distracted edge, like he's already halfway through another thought. Sure, I reply, setting the handkerchief down. I wipe my hands on my cardigan and head to the door. It's two of Nathan's old college friends, Mark and Greg, both in their early 40s, laughing as they step inside. They nod politely at me, but their eyes slide past, already looking for Nathan. I'm used to it, the way people look through me, like I'm part of the furniture. Hey, Eleanor, good to see you, Mark says, his smile quick and perfunctory. Greg just waves, already heading toward the living room. I close the door behind them and go back to the kitchen, the sound of their laughter trailing behind me. It's their monthly poker night, a ritual Nathan's kept up since his college days. I hear the clink of beer bottles, the shuffle of cards, the easy banter of men who've known each other too long to hold back. I don't mind the noise. It's nice to hear Nathan laugh, even if it's rare these days. I finish folding the laundry and start wiping down the counters, my movements slow, deliberate. The embroidered handkerchief sits on the table, a quiet reminder of who I used to be. I'm about to head to my room when I hear my name. It's faint, tucked into the rhythm of their conversation, but it stops me cold. I pause by the half-open living room door, my hand still on the doorknob. I don't mean to listen, eavesdropping isn't my way, but something about the tone of Nathan's voice pulls me in. Mom, single quotes, has been here 6 years. Nathan says, his voice low-tinged with frustration. 6 years, man, can you imagine? It's like I have no freedom anymore. My heart stumbles. I grip the doorknob tighter, my breath catching in my throat. She's always around. Nathan goes on, fixing stuff, cooking, asking about my day like I'm still a kid. It's suffocating. I can't even have a conversation with Laura without her hovering. Mark laughs, a sharp, careless sound. Sounds like you've got a live-in maid who's too nosy for her own good. Yeah, Greg chimes in. Why don't you just put her in one of those senior homes? Get your life back. Nathan sighs, and I can picture him running a hand through his hair, the way he does when he's stressed. It's not that simple. Those places cost a fortune. And she's healthy, just ... old, slow, always wearing that faded cardigan, like she's stuck in the 80s. They laugh again, and the sound cuts through me like a dull needle. My cardigan, the one I'm wearing right now, soft and familiar, the one I've worn through countless evenings like this. I glance down at it, my cheeks burning. It's not just the cardigan, it's me. I'm the thing that's outdated, in the way, a relic they tolerate because they have to. There's gotta be a way to get some space, Mark says. She's gotta have her own life, right? She doesn't, Nathan says, and his voice is flat, almost resigned. She's got nothing else. If she wasn't here, I'd have to face Laura and the truth. The truth? What truth? My mind snags on that word, but before I can make sense of it, Greg cuts in. Man, you're living in a sitcom. Everybody loves Eleanor, right? More laughter. It's like a knife twisting in my chest. I back away from the door, my hands trembling, my head is spinning, and there's a heaviness in my chest, a weight that has nothing to do with my age or my health. This is how my son sees me, a burden, a nosy old woman who's stealing his freedom. I slip back to my room, closing the door, softly so they won't hear. The sewing machine clock ticks on my dresser, its hands still wrung, mocking me. I sit on the edge of my bed, my hands folded in my lap, and stare at the wall. There's a small framed photo on the nightstand, me and Nathan, years ago, when he was just a boy. He's grinning, holding up a kite we'd made together, his eyes bright with pride. I was younger than Laura is now, my hair still dark, my smile wide and real. When did I become this person? When did I become invisible to my own son? Their laughter drifts through the walls, muffled but sharp, like pins pricking my skin. I think about all the things I've done for this family. The meals I've cooked, the clothes I've mended, the hours I've spent driving Oliver to school or helping Sophie with her homework. I did it out of love, not obligation. But now that love feels like a threadbare dress, worn out and unwanted, I lie down, still in my cardigan, and close my eyes. Nathan's words echo in my head. She's suffocating me. I have no freedom. My chest aches, but it's not just penance. Something else, something stirring, a decision, maybe. I can't keep living like this, fading into the background of someone else's life. Something has to change. The house is silent now, save for the faint hum of the refrigerator and the ticking of that old sewing machine clock on my dresser. It's past midnight, and Nathan's friends left hours ago, their laughter fading into the night. I haven't slept. Nathan's words keep looping in my head, each one a sharp stitch in a wound I didn't know was so deep. She's suffocating me. I have no freedom. And that cryptic line about the truth, it gnaws at me, but I push it aside. Right now, the hurt is louder than the mystery. I sit up in bed, my old cardigan still wrapped around me like a shield. The room feels smaller tonight, the walls closing in. My eyes land on the sewing machine clock, its hands still wrong, stuck in some other time. I've lived here for 6 years, and what do I have to show for it? A corner room filled with someone else's boxers, a pile of mended clothes no one thanks me for, and a son who thinks I'm a burden. I've spent my life stitching things together, dresses, dreams, this family, but somewhere along the way, I unraveled. I can't do this anymore. The thought is clear, like a needle piercing through fabric. I don't want to be angry or bitter, just want to be me again. Eleanor Brooks, the woman who could make a bride feel like a queen, who laughed with Henry over late-night coffee, who had a life that mattered. I need to leave, not to punish Nathan, but to save myself, to find a place where I'm more than a shadow. I get up, my bare feet cold against the hardwood floor, and pull an old leather suitcase from the closet. It's the same one I brought when I moved here, still dusty from years of neglect. I open it, the hinges creaking, and start packing. A few simple dresses, some blouses, a pair of sturdy shoes. I hesitate, then add my sewing kit, a small tin box filled with needles, thread, and tiny scissors. It's been months since I used it for anything other than fixing Sophie's jeans or Nathan's shirts. Then I lift my old sewing machine, The one I've had since I opened my shop. It's heavy, but I can't leave it behind. It's part of me. I sit at the small desk in my room and take out a piece of paper. My hands shake as I pick up a pen. How do you explain a decision like this without hurting the people you love? I don't want to accuse Nathan or make him feel guilty. I just want him to understand. Dear Nathan, Laura, Sophie, and Oliver, I write. My handwriting slow and deliberate. When you read this, I'll be gone. Please don't worry, I'm okay. I've loved being close to you these past 6 years, watching the kids grow, being part of your lives, but I need to find my own place, now, my own way. I'm not saying goodbye forever. I'll be in touch when I'm settled. Thank you for giving me a home. I love you all. Eleanor. I read it over. The words simple but honest. It feels right. I fold the letter and slip it into an envelope, writing Nathan's name on the front. I'll leave it on the kitchen counter, next to the coffee maker, where he'll see it in the morning. Before dawn. I sneak into the kitchen to make Oliver's favorite pancakes. I mix the batter, adding a pinch of cinnamon, just the way he likes it. I leave it in the fridge with a note. For Oliver, heat the griddle to medium. Flip when the edges bubble. Love, Grandma. It's a small thing, but it feels like a goodbye that matters. I take one last look around my room. The sewing machine clock is still ticking, but I leave it behind. It's time to stop living out of sync. I grab my suitcase and the sewing machine, slip out the back door, and step into the cool Portland morning. The streets are quiet, the sky just starting to lighten. For the first time in years, I feel a spark of something: freedom, maybe, fear, too. But mostly, I feel alive. By 7 a.m., I'm on a bus heading to Mississippi Avenue, a vibrant neighborhood I've always loved but never had the chance to explore. It's far enough from Selwood to feel like my own space, but close enough that I can visit Oliver and Sophie when I'm ready. I've spent the last few hours on my laptop, searching for apartments. I found a small one-bedroom in a charming old building with big windows and a tiny balcony. I sent a message to the landlord last night, and he agreed to show it to me today. The bus hums along, and I watch the city wake up: coffee shops opening, joggers weaving through the streets. I'm nervous, but it's the good kind of nervous, like the moment before you start a new sewing project, when the fabric is still a blank canvas. The apartment is even better than I expected. It's on the second floor of a brick building, with hardwood floors and a view of a tree-lined courtyard. The landlord, a kind man in his 60s named Tom, walks me through. It's quiet here, he says. Mostly artists and retirees. Good people. I'll take it, I say, surprising myself with how sure I sound. I sign the lease, hand over a deposit from my savings money I've barely touched since selling my shop, and Tom gives me the keys. Welcome home, Eleanor, he says with a smile. Home. The word feels strange, but good. That afternoon, I move in. The apartment is bare, just a bed, a small table, and a faded armchair. I unpack my suitcase, hanging my dresses in the closet, setting my sewing machine on the table. I open the tin sewing kit and run my fingers over the spools of thread: red, blue, gold. They feel like old friends. The next few days are a blur of settling in. I buy a few necessities: a kettle, some dishes, a soft throw blanket in a deep teal that makes the room feel warmer. I wander Mississippi Avenue, its streets alive with art galleries, craft shops, and quirky cafes. One day, I stumble into a small cooperative called Thread and Needle, a space where local artisans sell handmade goods. The sign in the window says they're looking for volunteers to teach sewing classes. I hesitate, then step inside. The woman behind the counter is Vivian, a 62-year-old with a cascade of silver hair and a smile that lights up the room. She used to be a fashion designer, she tells me, but now she runs this co-op, helping women learn crafts and sell their work. You look like you know your way around a needle, she says, eyeing my sewing kit. I used to own a dressmaking shop, I admit, feeling a flicker of pride. Wedding gowns, mostly. Her eyes widen. You're hired, she jokes, then laughs. Seriously, we'd love to have you teach a class. No pressure, just try it. I say yes before I can overthink it. That week, I start teaching a small group of women how to sew simple skirts. My hands, which have been idle for too long, come alive as I show them how to pin fabric, how to make a clean stitch. They listen, ask questions, laugh at my stories about brides who changed their minds mid-fitting. For the first time in years, I feel like Eleanor again, not grandma, not mom, but me. Vivian becomes a friend. the kind you meet and feel like you've known forever. Over coffee at a nearby cafe, she tells me about her life to marriages, a daughter who lives in New York, a career that took her from Paris to Portland. I lived with my daughter for a year after my second husband passed, she says, stirring her latte. But I realized I was losing myself. So I left. Best decision I ever made. Her words hit home. I'm trying to do that, I say quietly. Find myself again. You will, she says, her eyes steady. You're already on your way. She suggests I start an online shop to sell my creations, maybe embroidered scarves or custom aprons. The idea excites me, but it's daunting too. I haven't sold anything since my shop closed. Still, I spend evenings sketching designs, playing with patterns, letting my sewing machine hum again. One afternoon, I decide to try something new. I sign up for a folk dancing class at the community center, something I've never done before. The instructor, a lively woman named Rosa, guides us through steps that feel awkward at first but slowly become freeing. I laugh as I stumble, and the other dancers, mostly women my age, cheer me on. It's silly, but it's fun. It's mine. I buy a new scarf, a rich red one that feels bold and alive, and drape it over my shoulders instead of the old cardigan. I repair my sewing machine, oiling its gears, and it runs smoother than ever. Each small step feels like reclaiming a piece of myself. The days turn into weeks, and my apartment starts to feel like a home. I hang a few prints from local artists on the walls, set pots of lavender on the windowsill, and stitch a set of curtains in a soft cream fabric. I'm not just surviving, I'm building something new. But at night, when the city quiets, I think about Nathan and the kids. I wonder if they've found my letter, if they're angry or relieved. I miss Oliver's shy smile, Sophie's quick wit, even Nathan's distracted nods, but I don't miss the weight of being invisible. I'm not going back to that. It's been 3 weeks since I left Nathan's house, and my new life in Mississippi Avenue is starting to feel real. The mornings are mine now, quiet moments with a cup of tea, the hum of my sewing machine as I work on a set of embroidered scarves for the co-op. I've even started to enjoy my folk dancing classes, laughing with the other women as we stumble through steps that feel like a celebration of being alive. But there's still a part of me that wonders about Nathan and the kids. Have they read my letter? Do they miss me? Or are they relieved I'm gone? This morning, I'm walking to Oliver's school to surprise him after class. I haven't seen him since I left, and I miss his bright eyes, the way he'd hug me after a long day. The air is crisp, with that autumn bite that makes Portland feel alive. My new red scarf is wrapped around my shoulders, a bold splash of color that makes me feel like I'm stepping into the world instead of hiding from it. I wait outside the school, watching kids spill out, their voices loud and carefree. Then I see Oliver, his backpack slung over one shoulder, his superhero sneakers scuffed from running around. He spots me and his face lights up, like the sun breaking through clouds. "Grandma," he shouts, running over to wrap his arms around me. "Oh, Oliver, I've missed you," I say, hugging him tightly. He smells like crayons and grass, the way only a 9-year-old can. "Why didn't you come back?" he asks, pulling away to look at me. His eyes are serious, searching, and for a moment, I don't know how to answer. "I needed a little space, sweetheart," I say gently. "But I'm here now. Want to grab some hot chocolate?" He nods eagerly, and we walk to a nearby cafe, a cozy spot with mismatched chairs and chalkboard menus over steaming mugs. Oliver tells me about school, his new science project, a soccer game he almost won, and how Sophie's been extra grumpy lately. I listen, savoring every word, grateful for these moments that feel like a thread connecting me to him. Then, out of nowhere, he says something that stops me cold. "Mom and Dad have been fighting a lot," he says, staring into his hot chocolate, "like, all the time. Dad says it's because of money or something, but I heard Mom say she might leave." I set my mug down, my heart racing. "Leave? What do you mean, Oliver?" He shrugs, his small shoulders heavy. "I don't know. They stopped talking when I come in, but it's been weird since you left Grandma. Like they're mad all the time." I try to keep my face calm, but inside, my mind is spinning. Nathan and Laura, fighting, on the verge of splitting up. I think back to that night, the one where I overheard Nathan with his friends. If she wasn't here, I'd have to face Laura and the truth. That's what he said, the truth. Was this what he meant? Was my presence in their house, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, holding their crumbling marriage together? I take a deep breath, trying to process it. All this time, I thought Nathan saw me as a burden, a nosy old woman stealing his freedom. But maybe it was more complicated. Maybe I was the glue keeping their family from falling apart, and he resented me for it, not because I was in the way, but because I made it easier for him to avoid facing his problems. Does Sophie know about this? I ask, keeping my voice steady. Oliver nods. She's been in her room a lot. Says she doesn't want to hear them yell. My heart aches for him, for Sophie, for the family I thought I was helping. I reach across the table and squeeze his hand. I'm sorry, things have been tough, sweetheart, but you know you can always talk to me, right? He nods, a small smile breaking through. Can I see where you live now? Sophie says you've got a cool new place. I laugh, the tension easing a little. Soon, I promise. Let's get you home for now. As we walk to Nathan's house, Oliver chatting about his science project, my mind keeps circling back to what he said. Nathan and Laura, on the brink of divorce. It's a shock, but it also makes sense. The tension in the house, the way Nathan snapped at me, the way Laura was always distracted. It wasn't just about me. I was a convenient excuse, a way for Nathan to avoid the real problem. When we reach the house, I hesitate at the door. Part of me wants to confront Nathan, to ask why he didn't tell me, why he let me think I was the problem. But another part, the part that's been stitching herself back together these past weeks, knows I can't go back to being their crutch. I left to find myself, and I'm not giving that up. I hug Oliver tightly before he runs inside. Tell your mom I'll call soon, I say, my voice catching. Okay, Grandma, don't forget about my science project. I need your help with the poster. I won't forget, I promise, smiling as he disappears through the door. Back at my apartment, I sit at my sewing table, the machine quiet for now. I pull out a small box from the drawer, one I haven't opened in years. Inside is a tiny wedding dress I made for Laura when she and Nathan got married, a miniature keepsake, stitched with love for their new life together. I run my fingers over the delicate lace, remembering how Laura's eyes shone when I gave it to her. That was before the distance grew between us, before I became the suffocating mother in their house. Nathan's words from that night echo again, but they feel different now. If she wasn't here, I'd have to face Laura and the truth. He wasn't just pushing me away, he was hiding from his own life. I feel a pang of sympathy for him, but it's tempered by something stronger. Resolve. I left for a reason, and that reason hasn't changed. I'm not here to hold their marriage together. I'm here to live my own life. The days slip by, and my new life in Mississippi Avenue feels more like home every morning. My apartment is filled with small touches now: lavender pots on the windowsill, a stack of fabric swatches on my sewing table, the hum of folk music from my little radio during my evening sewing sessions. But Oliver's words from the cafe still linger, heavy as an unfinished hymn. Nathan and Laura, fighting, on the verge of splitting. It's a truth I didn't see coming, and it's changed the way I think about that night. I overheard Nathan. He wasn't just pushing me away, he was running from his own unraveling life. My phone buzzes daily with messages from Nathan. Mom, please call, we're worried. Oliver misses you. Can we talk? I've ignored them, not out of anger, but because I needed time to sort through my feelings. I'm not the same woman who left their house a month ago, suitcase in hand, heart bruised. I'm stronger now, stitching together a life that's mine, but I can't ignore them forever. Oliver's face, his small voice, asking why I didn't come back, tugs at me. So does the memory of that miniature wedding dress I made for Laura, a symbol of a family I still love, even if it's complicated. I decide it's time. I text Nathan, can we meet for lunch this weekend? Just you and me. His reply comes instantly. Yes, Mom. Name the place. I'm so glad you reached out. We meet at a small diner near his office, a cozy spot with checkered tablecloths and the smell of fresh coffee. I arrive early, my red scarf bright against my navy coat, feeling like a woman who knows who she is. Nathan walks in, looking tired, his shoulders hunched like he's carrying too much. He smiles when he sees me, but it's hesitant, like he's not sure what to expect. Mom, he says, sliding into the booth across from me. You look, different. Good, different. Thank you, I say, my voice steady. I feel different. We order coffee for me, a sandwich for him, and, for a moment, we're just a mother and son, catching up. He asks about my apartment, my sewing classes, and I tell him about the coupe, about Vivian. about the folk dancing class that makes me laugh until my sides ache. His eyes soften, and for the first time in years, he's really listening. But I didn't come here to make small talk. I take a deep breath, my hands wrapped around my coffee mug. Nathan, we need to talk about why I left. His face tightens, but he nods. I read your letter. I just, I didn't understand why you'd go without saying anything. I did say something, I say gently, but firmly. In the letter, and I left because I overheard you that night. With Mark and Greg. You said I was suffocating you, that I was taking away your freedom. Nathan's eyes widen, his cheeks flushing. You heard that. I did, I say, my voice catching. And it hurt, Nathan, more than you can know. I've spent 6 years cooking, cleaning, mending, taking care of Sophie and Oliver, thinking I was helping. But to hear you call me a burden, to hear your friends laugh at, made me feel like I was nothing. He looks down at the table, his hands fidgeting with a napkin. Mom, I didn't mean it like that. I was I was just venting. Things have been hard. I know, I say, thinking of Oliver's words. Oliver told me you and Laura have been fighting about your marriage. Nathan's head snaps up, his eyes wide with surprise. He told you that. He didn't mean to, I say. But he's worried, Nathan. He sees more than you think. And I think I understand now. You weren't just frustrated with me. You were frustrated with everything, your marriage, your life. I was just an easy target. He's quiet for a long moment, his jaw tight. Then he sighs, the sound heavy, like he's been holding it in for years. You're right, he says finally. Laura and I, we've been struggling for a while. We fight about everything. Work, money, the kids. Having you there, taking care of things, it made it easier to pretend everything was okay. I didn't have to face her, or myself. But I was wrong to take it out on you. I'm sorry, Mom. It's not a perfect apology, but it's honest, and that's enough. I feel a weight lift, not completely, but enough to breathe a little easier. Thank you, I say. But I need you to understand something, Nathan. I can't go back to being the person who holds your life together. I've found my own life now, and I'm not giving it up. He nods, his eyes meeting mine. I don't want you to come back like that. I just, I miss you. The kids miss you. Oliver talks about you every day. And Sophie, well, she pretends she doesn't, but I know she does. I smile, thinking of Sophie's pink hair and Oliver's superhero sneakers. I miss them too, I say. And I'll visit, but on my terms. I'm not your housekeeper anymore. I'm your mother, and I deserve to be seen as one. Nathan nods again, and this time, there's something new in his eyes. Respect. Maybe, I get it, he says. And I'm going to do better, I promise. The following Sunday, I visit their house for lunch. It's the first time I've been back since I left, and my stomach churns as I walk up the driveway. The house looks the same, modern, sleek, with Laura's perfect landscaping, but I feel different, like I'm stepping in as a guest, not a ghost. Oliver runs to the door, throwing his arms around me. Grandma, I made something for you. He pulls me inside and hands me a small embroidered handkerchief, stitched with clumsy but earnest blue stars. I learned it at school, he says proudly. You taught me how to hold a needle, remember? My throat tightens. It's beautiful, Oliver, I say, clutching the handkerchief like it's a treasure. I'm going to keep this forever. Sophie appears at the top of the stairs, her hair now a vibrant teal. Hey, Grandma, she says, her voice softer than usual. Mom said you're like teaching sewing classes now. That's kind of cool. I smile, surprised. Maybe you could come to one, I say. I could teach you to make something. A scarf, maybe. She shrugs, but there's a flicker of interest in her eyes. Maybe. Lunch is simple, Laura's lasagna, a little too salty but made with care. We sit around the table, and for the first time in years, it feels like a family. Nathan talks about a new project at work. Laura shares a story about a difficult client, and Oliver chatters about his science project. Sophie even puts her phone down for a few minutes, asking me about the co-op. As we clear the table, Nathan pulls me aside. Mom, I'm really sorry, he says quietly. I didn't realize how much you did for us until you were gone, and I didn't realize how much I took you for granted. I look at him, my son, the boy who used to hold my hand when we flew kites in the park. We both made mistakes, I say. I should have spoken up sooner, set boundaries, but we're here now, and we can do better. He nods, his eyes bright with something like relief. Can you come back next week? Oliver wants to show you his science poster. I'll be here, I say, but just to visit. My home is somewhere else. Now, it's a crisp November morning, and I'm sitting on my small balcony in Mississippi Avenue, a mug of tea warming my hands. The courtyard below is dusted with fallen leaves, and the air smells of rain and cedar. My apartment feels like mine, now, filled with pieces of Mia, stack of colorful fabric swatches on the table, a row of lavender pots on the windowsill, and Oliver's embroidered handkerchief pinned to the wall beside a small dress I sewed for the Co-op's upcoming showcase. The red scarf I bought weeks ago hangs over the back of a chair, a quiet reminder of the woman I'm becoming. It's been 2 months since I left Nathan's house, and my life has taken on a rhythm I never thought I'd find at 67. 3 mornings a week, I teach sewing classes at Thread and Needle, watching women light up as they learn to stitch their first seams. Vivian and I have become close, spending evenings sipping wine and swapping stories about our lives, hers full of fashion shows and heartbreak, mine of wedding gowns and quiet moments with Henry. I've even started an online shop, selling embroidered scarves and aprons, each piece a little spark of joy I didn't know I still had in me. My folk dancing classes are a highlight, too. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I join a group of women, most of them my age, all of them refusing to let time slow them down. We laugh as we trip over steps, our movements clumsy but free. Rosa, the instructor, calls us her rebel stitchers, a nod to my sewing and our shared defiance of growing old quietly. I never thought I'd be dancing at my age, but here I am, spinning to fiddle music, feeling alive in a way I haven't in years. I visit Nathan's family every couple of weeks, usually for Sunday lunch. It's different now, not perfect, but better. Nathan is trying, I can tell. He's more open, asking about my classes, my shop, even joking about joining my dance group someday. Laura's been quieter, but she's started thanking me for small things, like the apron I made her last week. Sophie surprised me by signing up for one of my sewing classes, her fingers fumbling with a needle but her eyes bright with curiosity. This is harder than it looks, she said, grinning when she finished her first scarf. Oliver is still my biggest cheerleader. Last week, he showed me his science project poster, covered in glitter and drawings of planets. You helped me with the idea, Grandma, he said, hugging me tightly. I think about his handkerchief, those uneven blue stars, and how it's more precious to me than any gown I ever made. Nathan and Laura are working on their marriage, slowly. He told me they've started counseling, something I never thought he'd agree to. It's hard, he admitted during my last visit, but we're trying. Having you around less. It forced us to face things. I nodded, feeling a mix of relief and pride. My leaving wasn't just about MIT, was about giving them space to grow. Sometimes, I think about that night I overheard Nathan, the pain of his words cutting through me. She's suffocating me. I have no freedom. It still stings, but it's softer now, like a seam that's been mended. I understand him better. His frustration wasn't just about me, but about a life he was struggling to hold together. And I understand myself better, too. I didn't leave to run away. I left to find Eleanor again, the woman who creates, who laughs, who matters. One evening, as I'm sewing a new scarf, Vivian drops by with a bottle of wine and a plate of homemade cookies. We sit on my balcony, the city lights twinkling below, and I tell her about my last visit with Nathan's family. They're starting to see me, I say, my voice soft, not just as mom or grandma, but as me. That's the thing about leaving, Vivian says, sipping her wine. Sometimes you have to step away for people to realize who you are. You're not just stitching fabric anymore, Eleanor. You're stitching your life back together. I smile, her words settling into me like a perfect seam. She's right. I had to disappear to be seen. I had to leave to return, but on my terms. With dignity and a sense of self I thought I'd lost. That as I sit here now, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold, I think about what this journey has taught me. Life doesn't stop at 67, or 70, or any age. It's never too late to start over, to find your own thread, and weave it into something beautiful. Sometimes, the hardest thing is stepping away from the people you love, not to hurt them, but to love yourself enough to live fully. And when you do, you might just find that they start to see you, too, not as a shadow, but as a person, whole and vibrant. I've learned that family isn't about being under the same roof or doing everything for each other. It's about respect, about giving each other room to grow. I'm still Nathan's mother, Sophie and Oliver's grandmother, but I'm also Eleanor Brooks, a seamstress, a dancer, a woman who's found her joy again. And that, I think, is worth every stitch.